So this is lesson 3.5 for us for geometry, and we're going to talk about slope. Now, when I look at slope from a graph, I like to make a slope triangle. And that's why I asked you to grab a highlighter. Have you ever heard that before? Maybe Algebra 1 said slope triangle. Maybe. What I'm going to look for is how far did I go down? And they color-coded it on here for us. So I'm going to look at my y's. From positive 4 to negative 2, how much did we go down? How much did we go down? 6. So the rise is negative 6. The rise is negative 6. And we're not really rising, we're going down. Then, from the left to the right, from the green x value to this green value, how many did we move to the right? 3. And so I use a little slope triangle to show my rise over my run. Have you heard that before? Rise over run. And then I can simplify. What's our simplified slope? Negative 2. M is negative 2. We use M. Y equals mx plus b. Questions on from a graph? So that was given to us. Now we have to graph a line that passes through the point negative 4, 3. So find the point negative 4, 3. Can you put that point on your graph? Our slope is 5/7. So how do I move? Up 5, right 7. So I'm going to count up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Count right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I'll just connect my points. I'll connect my points, put arrows at the end. Put arrows at the end. Again, if you see my little dots there, I drew another slope triangle. I just counted up 5. I went right 7. So number 3, we're going to use slope formula. Take your highlighter. There's some key information over here. Will you highlight this? If you're given 2 points, x1, y1, x2, y2, we're going to use the slope formula, where I subtract my y's, then I subtract my x's, and then I divide. Okay? I'm going to start by labeling my first point. x1, y1, x2, y2, and I'm going to plug it into my slope formula. So I always start by labeling my points. Maybe that helps you. Now I know what I am. Subtracting. So I'm going to do 2 minus 9. That's my y's. My second y divided by. Now we're going to divide by my x's. My x2 minus my x1. Things are going to be negative. It's going to be okay. 2 minus 9, what do we get? Woo, negative 7. 1 minus 7, what do we get? Negative 6. When I have a negative over a negative, what happens? Positive. Good. Now, you could leave your slope as positive 7/6, or you could type it in your calculator. Why don't you type in your calculator right now? Let's make sure we're rounding okay. 7 divided by 6 in our calculator. What do we get?
Positive 1.16.
1.6, repeating. So we could round up to the nearest tenth, 1.7. Okay? We could round up to the nearest tenth.
It's 1.16.
1.6?
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. 1.16. So we round up to the nearest tenth, which would be 0.2. Now, you can tell me your slope in either a fraction or a decimal. That's okay. All right, next one, where there's some negatives in the points. I'm going to start by labeling this x1, y1, x2, y2, y2 minus my y1, x2. Uh-oh, I'm subtracting a negative. This is something that I do because I notice students are not quite sure. When I subtract a negative, I put my negative number in parentheses. What happens when we subtract a negative? Positive. Yep. Now, some students take that and then make the whole slope formula positive. No, this only happens when I subtract a negative. So we get negative 6 over 5. Great. Why don't you try C with your group right now? Give it a try. Look at the graphs below. For each graph, line graph, tell whether it's positive, negative slope, or a slope of 0. Okay, in this first graph, I'm not finding slope. Is the slope going to be positive or negative? Negative. Sometimes if I'm not sure, I like to think of putting a ball here, and it would be rolling down the hill. Yes, it's negative. I know, my drawings are really bad. Okay. Negative. How about this? This is interesting. What's this? 0. What do we call this line? What do we call it? Horizontal. Good. Horizontal. When I write an equation with a slope of 0, y equals, I've got 0x because my slope is 0. But what's the y-intercept here? Look at the y-intercept. What is it? -1. So let's simplify this equation. 0 times x, what's going to happen? 0. So I'm left with y equals -1. So a horizontal line has a y equals equation. Will you add that there? You will be asked about a horizontal equation. You'll be asked about a vertical equation. When I have y equals a number, it's a horizontal line with a slope of 0. Okay? How about the next graph? What kind of slope do we have? Positive. It's going up. Positive. Great. Flip the page. Here we go. All right, examples. Let's talk about our overall equation. Y equals mx plus b. Will you write that at the top of your paper, please? Y equals mx plus b. Okay? We need to find the slope of this line. I think we just did. It goes down 6. It goes right 3. So my simplified slope is -2. So I can start writing this. M is my slope. Y equals -2x. Remember, M is your slope. What is B in this equation? What's B? Good, the y-intercept. When I'm looking at a point, the y-intercept is always when x is 0 and b is that number. Will you please add this? You're going to need this for your tests. You're going to need this for your homework. So when x is 0, the value that's y, that's my b. What is my y-intercept from this graph? I'm looking at the y-axis. What's my y-intercept? 2. So I've got -2x plus 2. That's my equation. For part B, we just talked about this. I have a slope of 0. I have a y-intercept of -1, so this just simplifies to y equals -1. I have a slope of 0. I can plug that in. 0 times anything, it's going to cancel out, so I get a horizontal line, y equals -1. Again, that's a horizontal line, a special case. Any questions on A or B? Let's look at C. Graph C is another special case. What kind of line is it? Good, it's vertical, thank you. Vertical. Vertical lines have a slope of undefined. Anyone know why? Anyone know why? Why is it undefined? It's because if you divide by 0, it's undefined. You can't divide by 0. You can't divide by 0. What's this? You don't trust me? You're gonna try it. Try it in your calculator. Do 3 divided by 0. What happens? Sorry, other way. 0 divided by 3. Nope, 3 divided by 0. Try it in your calculator. Go. You'll get an error. 3 divided by 0. What do you get? Error. We cannot divide by 0. So we get an undefined slope when we're dividing by 0. Okay? Great. What's this equation? That's the most important part. Is it going to be y equals what? If I have an undefined slope, it's going to be x equals, where is this x value at? 3. So x equals 3. That's it. Undefined slope. Why? Can't divide by 0. Great. Moving on. I want you to do D with your group. Put it together. Do D with your group. We should get y equals 2x minus 3. All right. I'm going to graph one of these with you, and then I think you can do B and C. Let's try 2A. Where do I start my line? Good, -5. How do I move to my next point? Yes, up 4, right 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Then I can just sketch a line through it. Boom, we're done. Can you do B and C now with your group? We'll do 3 together in the end. Remember, slope is always the number next to x, so don't let that confuse you. We can change the order. Let's do number 3. We're combining things. We're finding the slope. They tell us the y-intercept. So number 3, we're going to find the slope. Maybe you already did this on your paper. We're taking y2 minus y1. We're doing x2, subtracting x1. I can simplify my fraction. Because it says my y-intercept is -9, I plug that in. Here is my final equation. Put a star next to number 3. This is what it's going to look like on your test. Okay? What questions do we have about slope? Tomorrow we're going to do the 6th lesson. Hold on a second. Pause. We're going to do the 6th lesson. Not tomorrow. Probably Monday. We'll see. Parallel. We've been talking about parallel lines. We're going to do a whole unit on parallel lines. Then we're also going to do perpendicular. We've been talking about perpendicular lines. So tomorrow or Monday we're going to connect it to geometry terms we've been doing. Great. Your homework. Your homework is 1 through 5 or 6. 1 through 6. On this page, 1 through 6.